So it's April and you are still waiting for decisions from your law schools. What should you do? For those of you who don't know, my name is Sydney Montgomery, and I am the executive director and founder here at Barrier Breakers, where we specialize in working with first generation, minority, and immigrant college and law school applicants. And today we're talking about what to do in the waiting period when you're just waiting for law schools to get back to you. Was I admitted? Was I denied? Am I waitlisted? What am I supposed to do? For some of you, you applied a long time ago, September, October, and it seems like you're still waiting on a lot of schools. Now, some of you just applied. If we're going to be honest, you applied in January or February, and my answer to you is very simple. You wait. You wait because you applied a little bit later in the cycle, and this is a notoriously slow cycle. So if you haven't heard back from any schools and you applied in January or February, that is actually not abnormal. There's nothing weird happening. It's fine. Maybe you're like, well, I heard back from this one school, but I haven't heard back from these other schools. That one school was fast, and those other schools are normal. So I would advise you to just keep waiting. But if you're someone who applied in September or October and you're not really sure what you should be doing, then this video is really for you. So the first thing that you should do is make sure that your application status is actually complete and it's been processed. Your application, when you check in your portal, should say that your application is under review. That's usually the term for they're working on your application. If you applied more than 12 weeks ago and your application still doesn't say that it's under review, it doesn't say that they've received it or it's complete or processed or any of those kind of languages, then you may want to reach out to admissions and just write a very short, simple, respectful email to the admissions office just saying that you were emailing to check in on the status of your application to make sure that everything had been received okay and that there is nothing else that is needed on your end at this time. You really want to make sure, that they're not waiting for something or there's no administrative error. Admissions offices are run by people and people are human. And so it's really good just to make sure that they've received everything, right? You want your application to be under review. Now, if your application is under review and it's been under review for a while, that's also okay. That doesn't necessarily mean bad news. No news can sometimes be good news. Sometimes it's quicker to deny students than it is to accept them. And so if you haven't heard back from a school and you applied a while ago, it's okay. If your application is under review, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. What can you be doing in the process? I always advise students that you want to use the time when you're waiting meaningfully so that you have updates to write if you are going to write a letter of continued interest, if you do end up getting waitlisted or even sometimes put on hold. In order to have a strong letter of continued interest, it is, of course, important to express why that school is still a really good fit for you. But it's great to have some updates. Since I submitted my application, I've actually been promoted to this, or I retook the LSAT and had a higher score. I started this volunteer opportunity, those sort of things. Now, if you do have a meaningful job update, you have been promoted or you've gotten a new job and you want to send admissions an updated resume, you can do that in the waiting process. Not if you applied last month, don't do that. But if you applied in the fall, it's been more than 12 or 16 weeks, your application has been under review, and you've got a really big update, or you've just published something, or a research that you've been doing has come to fruition or entered the next stages, it is absolutely okay to update your resume and then just send a short note to admissions with your LSAC number that you are just providing an updated resume for the file. Don't do this more than once, right? You get one email with an updated resume with a meaningful update. Not, oh, I started volunteering once a week. That's not a meaningful update. But, if you're now the senior manager, senior vice president at the company, or like I said, you've had something major published, something really meaningful, you don't have to wait to be waitlisted or to be put on hold in order to share that with admissions. If you want that part of your application, go ahead and send that. Also, if you happen to retake the LSAT and your LSAT score went from, I don't know, 150 to 170, yeah, don't wait. Send that update. They get those updated scores anyways, but that can be helpful. If you are a college student and you are still in school and your GPA went up significantly, you should always, actually, even if it didn't, you should always send updated mid-year transcripts. And so if you haven't done that already, if you applied in the fall and you've got grades and you haven't sent updated transcripts, you want to make sure that you're doing that as well. But the key here is to continue to better yourself, not just for admissions, but just to better yourself in general. Also, if you were unemployed when you applied to law school and now you have a job, that is a meaningful update. So, to reiterate, if your application is not under review and it's been more than 12 weeks, you can email admissions and ask just to make sure that they received everything. You wanted to check in on the status of your applications. If your application has been under review for 12 to 16 weeks or more, and you have meaningful updates in terms of job promotions, or you need to send an updated transcript, those are things that you can email to admissions. You just want to add it to your file. If you are waitlisted, if you've been put on hold is always a tricky one for students. Like, what do I do with a hold? I think it's okay to send one letter of continued interest, but you want to follow the instructions. My thing is, if you're ever unsure, if you're like, hey, the school sent this to me, I don't really know what it means. Should I write a letter of continued interest? It's never a bad idea to say, thank you so much for this update. How would you prefer I stay in contact with you? How would you prefer waitlisted candidates reach out to the school? Would you welcome a letter of continued interest at this time? I don't think there's anything wrong with asking. There's also lots of ways, if admissions, some of these schools have Zooms where you can meet with admissions, or they might have open houses, or they might have virtual tours. You can also always ask those questions then. And I will take this time to make a plug for getting to know admissions. I always say it's a really good idea in the fall, even before you apply, to get to know admissions. Shameless plug, if you are applying this coming cycle and you're like, how do I get to know admissions, Sydney? Well, good thing that our free Break Into Law conference registration is open for our free virtual Break Into Law conference. We have over 40 law schools registered, and they will be there. It is June 21st through 23rd. The law school fair is on Saturday, June 22nd. And if you are trying to meet with law schools, this is a great place to do it. Like I said, there are over 40 law schools already registered. We have small schools, we have big schools, we have T14 schools, we have regional schools, all different kinds of schools. So definitely make sure that you are coming out. And we're so thankful to law schools that have also sponsored the conference. If you already applied and you are just waiting to hear back from schools, this conference is still for you. We have panels on being a law school student with different affinity groups. We have panels on financing law school. We have panels with different law firms on different career paths. So, regardless of who you are, if you're in this law school legal world, this is a great conference for you. We will link the conference in the show notes and in the description down below. It is free. So go. So go, come. I'll be there. Hopefully you'll be there. Just a short aside about that. Now, if you are waitlisted, like I said, it would be great for you to write a letter of continued interest to the law schools. There are videos, which we will link in the show notes and in the description, on how to write a letter of continued interest. We actually walk you through, literally step by step, writing a letter of continued interest. The big thing that I always like to remind students of is you want to be honest in your letters of continued interest. So what I don't want to see is you telling 7 different schools, you're my first choice school and I will absolutely come if accepted, because that cannot be true for 7 schools. And I know that students are like, but I really want them to accept me. It's like, yes. And there are other words that you can use. Like, I really believe that this would be an excellent fit for me. I am so excited about the prospects of attending X Law School. I believe that X Law School strongly fits into my future law school plans. I feel so strongly about attending X Law School and would be ecstatic to get in. These are all ways of saying that you really want to be accepted without saying you're my first choice law school and I will absolutely attend if accepted, because that can only be true for one school. As always, my PSA around this time, we want to start our law school journey off with the truth, because the truth is what the law is about. What you want to make sure that you're mindful of as you are waiting is that you are being respectful and courteous and not obnoxious, right? I have said a lot of times that you don't want to annoy admissions in this process. And the place where that is really, really true is in the waiting. Law school admissions are holistic and comparative, which means that they are taking into consideration the entirety of your application and also they are comparing you with different applicants. That's why some applicants are going to find out sooner than others. It doesn't mean that if you haven't found out, you're not getting in. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that every school has a different process when it comes to each student and each applicant. But what you don't want to do is email them month after month. Hey, I'm checking in. I haven't heard. I'm checking in. I haven't heard. I'm checking in. I haven't heard. That's so annoying, right? Don't be that person. Remember, they are working as fast as they can to get through all of the application materials while giving each applicant a decent look to make sure that they're not overlooking anyone. Now, some of you have asked, okay, well, here's the situation. I haven't heard back from like 10 of my schools, but I have deposit deadlines that are also coming up in less than 2 weeks. What do I do? This can be a really tricky situation. So first, I would reach out to the school that you have the deposit deadline and I would be honest and explain the situation. First off, you've already been admitted. They are not going to revoke your admission for asking this question. Hi, my name is Sydney and I am so excited and so thrilled that I have been accepted to the University of Sunshine Law School. I want to make a full decision, however, and compare all of the financial aspects as this is a really important decision. And I'm still waiting to hear back from 5 other schools. I'm wondering if there's any way that I could get a 2 to 4 week extension on my deposit deadline, which might give me some more time to hear back from other schools and make the best financial decision possible for me in this season. Or, if you've gotten a full ride from the school, so finances don't make sense, just I want to make a fully informed decision on where I want to start my law school career. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. They may email you back and say, absolutely, take another month. Or they might say, no, I'm sorry, our deposit deadline is firm. Then you have 2 choices. Well, one, you can go to, I wouldn't go to all of them, but you can go to maybe 1 or 2 of the schools you haven't heard back from and say, my name is Sydney Montgomery. I applied in October to University of Rain. I really love the University of Rain Law School, and I do think it would be a wonderful fit for me. However, I have another school, and you don't have to say it's the University of Sunshine. You could if you want to. You really don't have to. I have another school who has a deposit deadline of April 15th. And I'd really love to be able to consider the University of Rain's decision in making my deposit. There's always a chance that when you ask people to make a decision quicker, they make a decision you don't want them to make, right? So that's a risk that you have to take. That's option 1. Option 2 is that you just deposit at University of Sunshine. And if you get into the University of Rain Law School and you realize you'd rather go to the University of Rain Law School, then you may lose your deposit at the University of Sunshine. And that is a financial risk for sure. Option 3, if deposits in general are causing a financial hardship, you can explain that to your school. Or you can deposit at the University of Sunshine. If you later get into the University of Rain and you love it, and this was your first choice school and you want to go there, you can ask the University of Rain, hey, I love you. Thank you so much for admitting me. I'm so excited. I've got a University of Rain sweatshirt already. However, I had to make a decision with the University of Sunshine by April 15th, and I deposited there. I would very much like to enroll, however, at the University of Rain. And I understand that I will have forfeited my deposit at the University of Sunshine. But is it possible for me to enroll and commit at the University of Rain without paying another deposit fee since I've already lost my deposit at the University of Sunshine? You never know. They might say, you know what, we are so excited to have you and yeah, come on in without paying another deposit. In this case, you will have lost your deposit at the first school, University of Sunshine, but you're not paying a second deposit at the University of Rain. It's kind of a win-win. So I've presented you with a couple of options. Personally, I would say asking the first school to move the deposit deadline if it's possible because you're still waiting on, say, 5 schools. That's probably option A. And then I would say my second preferred option would be to deposit at the first school. And then if you get into the second school, see if they will waive their deposit fee. That would be my second preferred option. I'm not saying not to email, the schools that you're waiting from and let them know that you have an upcoming deposit deadline, but I'm generally not a fan of asking schools to make decisions quicker. It just usually doesn't work out in your favor. So that would not be my preferred option, but it is an option if you would like to take those chances. I will present you with that option. So hopefully this helps you think about what to do in the waiting. It helps you think about whether you should reach out, whether you should write a letter of continued interest, and if so, when, and how you should do that. Remember, we're going to link our video on how to write a continued interest in the show notes or in the description. And it's also helped you maybe navigate some tricky deposit situations that might be coming up as you are juggling schools that have very different timelines from each other. If you have questions about this, feel free to let us know. You can always submit questions to us at bit.ly/breakintolawschool. We'd love to answer your questions, and we actually have been answering questions in our mini podcast series, so definitely make sure to submit your question to us. If you want help with your applications, or if you're thinking about reapplying, make sure that you visit our website, look at our packages, and you can always email us at hello@barrierbreakers.org. That's hello@barrier-breakers.org. We would love to hear from you. I hope that you have a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic rest of your application season and cycle. And like I said, hopefully I will see you at our 3rd annual Break Into Law conference this summer, June 21st through 24th. And the registration link to this free virtual conference is below. And of course, if this video was helpful to you, make sure that you share it with a friend, rate, like, and subscribe. I'll see you soon.